Today on the Blockchain Report, Bitcoin's back up to 116K and the chaos is just warming up. Trump signing an order to shove Bitcoin into your 401k because nothing says retirement quite like a crypto crash. Tom Lee says Strategy could be the world's biggest company if Bitcoin hits $1 million, as sailors basically printing money with laser eyes. And less than 1 million people currently own a full Bitcoin, so congrats if you do. You're basically a crypto aristocrat now. All that and more right now on today's show. Let's go. Good morning, my crypto-crazed comrades, and welcome back to another episode of the Blockchain Report. I'm Hank Hudson, beaming to you live from San Francisco, California. It's Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific, that sweet spot where the coffee kicks in and the weekend feels so close you can almost taste it. Now, before we dive headfirst in today's wild whirlpool of market madness, do me and yourself a favor and smash that like button like it's a piñata at a quinceañera. And while you're at it, follow RoxomTV and yours truly at Hank at RoxomTV, because your barber's hot tips about Fartcoin just aren't cutting it anymore. All right, now enough stalling. Let's get into this morning's market rundown and check who's riding the waves in this thrilling tide of price swings. Let's get to it. Okay, well, this Thursday bringing us good tidings of joy and happiness, and it has. What a pleasant surprise and way to start our day. Right now, a lot of green on the board. Bitcoin back above that 116K mark, currently sitting at 116.3, up about a percentage point in the last 24. Ethereum having a moment itself, up nearly 4% in the last 24 hours, currently right above that 3,800 level. Let's see if it can finally break past that $4,000 ceiling. XRP also up over 2% today, sitting at 305, 306 a coin. Cardano's up 2.5%, and Dogecoin even getting into the mix. It is up over 4% on the AM hours today. In the stock market, mostly more of the same, looking pretty good for the most part. The Dow Jones is down a little bit, about 200 points this morning, but it's early. The NASDAQ is up about 98, 99 points, and the S&P 5 doing a whole lot of nothing, down 2 points this morning. Not a lot to talk about there. MicroStrategy, they're up $10 today. That's nearly a 3% increase, sitting at $3.94 a share. Tesla's down $1. Coinbase is up almost 2.5 percentage points today. They're sitting at about $3.18, $3.19 a pop. Nvidia is up almost 1.5 percentage at $181, and GameStop is sitting right above that $22 mark, almost $23 currently. So we got a lot of show in store for you today. We're going to take a really quick break, but when we're back, we're going to get things kicked off with this morning's bull run. So stay tuned for that and much more on the Blockchain Report. We'll be right back. All right, well, it's time for this morning's Bull Run, where we go over the top stories of the day. First up, in what might be the most financially chaotic neutral policy move of the year, President Donald Trump is reportedly signing an executive order that would allow cryptocurrency, real estate, private equity, and other alternative assets into America's $12.5 trillion 401k market. That's right. Grandma's retirement account could soon include Bitcoin, a strip mall, and an early-stage NFT fund. Great. All under the same tax-deferred roof. The order directs the Department of Labor to rethink the rules around including alternative assets in retirement portfolios. Now, to get there, Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer will team up with the SEC, Treasury, and other agencies to figure out what rules need to be rewritten. And with Paul Atkins, the new pro-crypto SEC chair, Bitcoin in your 401k might not be a joke anymore. Now, this is being billed as the biggest move yet by Trump's administration to open up retirement accounts to private markets. A massive expansion of a previous effort he started back in his first term, only to have it rolled back under former President Joe Biden. Now, he's back, and with a vengeance. Wall Street has been eyeing this move like a lion staring at a steakhouse window. Asset managers want in on the 401k party because most pension funds have already maxed out their private equity exposure, and deal flow is drying up faster than DeFi volume in a bear market. So the new frontier? Well, your 401k and your risk appetite. Supporters argue this gives everyday Americans more options and higher potential returns. Critics point out the tiny issue of massive fees, complex structures, and retirement plan admins getting sued into oblivion when someone's crypto-backed SPAC loses 90% by Q3. But the logic here is actually pretty simple. Public markets are shrinking. Private markets are bombing. So why not let everyday Americans ride the rocket too? Let's not forget now, the Trump family has already made $620 million from crypto ventures in just the last couple of months. So now, the plan is clear. Make 401ks the next crypto frontier. Because nothing screams retirement planning quite like going 30% long on Bitcoin, 20% in tokenized REITs, and the rest in some Solana meme coin. What could possibly go wrong there? And in other news, you'd think a president who called for making America a Bitcoin mining powerhouse wouldn't then nuke the supply chain for Bitcoin mining
fake
hardware.
news.
And yet, here we are. Hey, get out of here! Now, following the end of a temporary 90-day pause, Trump's new reciprocal tariffs kick in today, and they're not playing around. ASIC mining rigs from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand now face a 21.6% total tariff to get into the United States. Now, for reference, that number used to be 2.6%. China is still the big dog in mining equipment, and rigs from there are taxed at 57.6%. Yeah, you heard that one right. And that's actually lower than what the White House was originally proposing. Now, the results of all this? Well, Bitcoin mining companies are beginning to scramble. Some are heading to friendlier pastures like Canada, South America, and apparently even Russia. Meanwhile, mining company Luxor Technology is trying to secure partnerships for U.S. production, but says it could take a few years before we see machines made mostly from U.S.-sourced parts. So in the short term, miners holding old machines could benefit as used ASICs start trading at 20% markups. But if you're trying to expand operations in the United States, well, you might want to start brushing up on your French or Portuguese. Singapore-based mining firm BitFuFu, yeah, that is apparently its real name, says U.S. miners can still stay competitive thanks to cheaper renewable energy in places like Oklahoma, Texas, and Colorado. But let's be real here. Even with cheap energy, if the gear costs double to import, you're swimming upstream. This is the strange paradox of the Trump crypto policy. Super pro Bitcoin on paper, and yet these tariffs are squeezing U.S. mining firms harder than a DOJ subpoena. I know, the worst. The long-term play might be U.S.-made rigs and energy dominance. But for now, America's hash rate growth is slowing. And the rest of the world, well, they're picking up the slack and probably stacking some more sats on the side. Bitcoin doesn't care where it's mined, but the next leg of the bull run might be fueled overseas because tariffs don't stop hash power, They just move it. And if July felt bullish, that's because, well, it was. And you can thank your favorite corporate Bitcoin hoarders. A new report shows that institutions added 166,000 BTC in July, pushing total tracked holdings across companies and ETFs to 3.64 million BTC, worth a juicy $428 billion. Now, leading the charge in all this, obviously, was strategy. Saylor's squad added over 31,000 Bitcoin in a flurry of moves tied to their $2.5 billion stretch preferred stock raise. That brings their total stash to, drumroll please, can we hit it? 628,791 Bitcoin, because nice round numbers are for peasants. Meanwhile, some users on X claim that in late June, Strategy moved $800 million worth of BTC into 3 brand new wallets with no transaction history, and then sent that BTC to Coinbase Prime, a sell-side platform. No official announcement, no Q2 earnings call clarification, no winky tweet from Michael Saylor. But there is precedent to this. In 2022, Strategy moved 34,000 BTC to collateralize a loan, and the market promptly tanked. If they're moving coins again, the fear is history might about to rhyme. Now, some are predicting that if this turns into a full-blown liquidation, Bitcoin could drop below 70K in just a matter of days, which would be the most expensive oops in Treasury history. Now, to be clear, this is all speculative. Saylor hasn't confirmed anything just yet. But wallet watchers are nervous, the movements are suspicious, and the silence from Strategy's camp is eerily deafening. Now, if Strategy were to exit the game, it wouldn't just be a price correction. It would be a complete confidence reset, the kind that makes you re-download your hardware wallet firmware twice. Be careful with that stuff. We just had that gone the other day. You never know. And in other news of Michael Saylor, he's entered his Fight Club era. And yes, it's as ridiculous and glorious as it sounds, and I'm probably not supposed to talk about it. As Bitcoin dipped to that 114K range just a day or two ago, Saylor took to X and dropped this AI-generated image of himself channeling Tyler Durden, bare-chested, cigarette in mouth, brooding in the shadows like he's about to punch the fiat system in the face. The message, well, do not sell your Bitcoin. Simple, poetic, possibly unhinged. In the background, silhouettes of other Fight Clubbers loom, presumably representing the diamond-handed disciples of Bitcoin maximalism. The tweet reads like a spiritual call to arms, a cinematic, meme-laced hodl-or-die energy, if you will. He also reposted a Strategy Inc. infographic showing that the company now holds over $71 billion in Bitcoin and a measly $50 million in fiat, which basically makes their cash position a rounding error. Now, this isn't a company anymore. It's a leveraged Bitcoin ETF with a CEO who thinks in memes. And honestly, it seems to be working. Saylor's not the only one fanning the flames on maximalist euphoria. Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad, poor dad guy, also jumped in with a tweet saying Bitcoin has the pure genius asset design. He says he made millions in real estate, but they came with many, many sleepless nights. His Bitcoin gains, however, he forgot he even owned it and then logged back in to find several $1 million. Easiest millions I ever made, he said. Must be nice. So between Kiyosaki calling Bitcoin a lazy money machine and Saylor cosplaying as Tyler Durden, we're officially in the weird, post-ironic phase of the bull market, a time when memes are policy, and the first rule of Bitcoin Fight Club, never sell your damn coins. All right, Victor, I want to bring you in for this one. Michael Saylor, who we all know and love, has this really fun habit of posting AI-generated photos of himself in very interesting situations, the most recent one being this Fight Club picture. Do you think Michael Saylor is actually the one behind all this, or has he got an intern who's just going crazy with the ChatGPTs?
I hope it's an intern, because if it's him, I feel like he's just kind of like full of himself. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not.
I mean, I do too, because it really goes one of two ways. It's either Michael Saylor is wholeheartedly full of himself, or he has the best sense of humor ever. And I'm really hoping it's the latter of that. Do we have some of the other ones
Well,
by chance that he's done in the past?
actually, I wanted to show you. He posted a new one this morning. Gaston, can we put that
Oh,
up?
do tell.
Uh,
Let's see what we got here.
So he posted this saying,
Oh,
"If I had bought Bitcoin sooner." I don't know what it's referencing though.
how de-
You might know.
how debonair. I don't know. He's almost kind of got like a orange pill Don Draper vibe for this one. This is one of the less ridiculous
Yeah,
ones.
he's giving like
I gotta
George
say,
Clooney.
Yes, he does have some silver fox thing going here. His AI images always make him look incredibly handsome, I've noticed too. I don't know if that's ChatGPT or if that's part of the prompt. It's like, make me look a little bit more handsome
Right.
than normal. Does he have any other old ones we
let's
can go
see.
like from the media of his X account? Because he's had some like pretty outrageous ones. And again, I'm totally here for it, and everyone else should be too, because they are pretty fantastical. It's like
Oh, look,
it's like
he was
if I
in San
gave my
Francisco.
like young cousin. Oh, there we go. I must have missed him there
Yeah.
on the Golden Gate Bridge.
With one lane. Oh no, it's two
Should've made
lane.
more.
Oh, I mean, it's AI, so that's kind of weird.
It looks like he's actually doing construction on it. How kind of him in his spare time, nonetheless, when he's orange pilling the world. What else we got?
There's this one, maybe like the
Oh, we got the Godfather one.
Godfather.
That's a Godfather homage.
yeah.
Well, he is like the
I like
Bitcoin Godfather,
Game
I
of
suppose,
Thrones.
at this point. Boy, oh wow, he's got some Henry Cavill. That's a Witcher one, I think.
Oh, okay,
Right?
right, yeah, Witcher. I forgot about that.
Yeah, boy, he
I was
really did
thinking
himself
of
some favors with
the
this.
fur coats are giving the Game of Thrones. What's that one family called?
It is. He just looks like what's his face in this Witcher guy, whose name I just said, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill,
Like
okay.
I think he
I
kind of
mean, yeah.
borrowed Henry Cavill's jawline and face, pretty much. Boy, he's really doing himself some favors here. He's had some pretty outrageous ones. I'm sure there's like a Matrix one in here somewhere.
Yeah, we do the Matrix
It's
one.
just the orange one almost looks like the suit from Dumb and Dumber a little bit, but that's more like Miami Sailor.
Miami.
Man, these are just great.
It's like set. Oh, like
His
there's a
PR team
Matrix
is killing
one.
it. Of course,
There
there's
is.
yeah, naturally. He is the chosen one, or I guess Bitcoin is in this case. I don't know. But these are really fantastic. I don't think there's any CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies that are killing the AI game quite like he is. I almost like to think he's just like sitting like in his room on his phone, just making these like laughing hysterically, like hee hee hee. But I think it's got to be an intern, right? I don't think they even asked for approval at this point. I think they're just going. We got a Top Gun one.
Yeah.
There's like an old timey. Man, make sure you guys check those out on Michael Saylor's X account. They're just outrageous, and each one seems to be a little bit more ridiculous than the one before. There's even a beautiful. That's either a Beautiful Mind one in the bottom right-hand corner, or that's his Goodwill Hunting one. Is he solving equations at exclusive colleges at night? Yeah.
Yeah.
He moonlights as a janitor. He's just solving complex equations. God bless you, Michael Saylor. You truly are our Lord and Sailor, and we love you for it. All right, let's get back to the news. That's what people are here for. I could talk about this stuff all day, but we love it. I mean, what do you think? Before we go, Victor, are you a fan of this, or do you think it's kind of
I mean,
silly?
it's fun. Yeah. I mean, I don't have. I wouldn't say a fan, but definitely makes him more of an interesting character.
It does. It almost makes, there's like a mystery to it. And that new mystery is, who the hell is creating these things? I need to know. I want to get to the bottom of this. Anybody knows, please post this on the RoxomTV X page. I'm dying to know. Michael Saylor, who is creating these? Is it you, or is it some intern that needs to be getting paid more? I don't know at this point. But all right, let's get back to the news, because we're actually not done talking about our Lord and Sailor, Michael Saylor, as according to Tom Lee, there he is, a man who's never met a bullish thesis he didn't love. Michael Saylor's Strategy Inc. could become the largest company in the world if Bitcoin hits $1 million, which of course it will, because we all know number go up. Lee told podcaster Natalie Brunell that Saylor is changing the reality of the stock market. Let's take a listen and roll the clip for me, would you guys?
Michael Saylor's view is that Bitcoin's going to compound at a rate that justifies any relative level of liability that normally would be tough to stomach. And so that's why he's created these structures. But they've been enormously successful products. And of course, he could change and refinance them at any time. So I think the main thing is Michael Saylor is changing the reality of the stock market. And the reason is that he probably will end up being potentially the largest company in the stock market, okay? Especially if Bitcoin goes to 1 million. Yet he doesn't generate GAAP net income to justify it. He's based solely on the value of his balance sheet. And but that's not new to history, because when I graduated college, the biggest stock in the S&P, a top 5 name was ExxonMobil. And it was top 5 for 28 years, 30 years, like an entire generation. Graduated, worked on Wall Street. A top 5 name was a company that was only valued on the value of its oil, not on its net income. So like MicroStrategy is like replacing Exxon in lore, because, you know, for a whole generation, people said Exxon was the biggest company, but you don't value it on earnings. Well, MicroStrategy could be one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's valued on its Bitcoin.
Thanks, Tom. Well, despite Tom's prognostications, not everyone is exactly buying the Saylor gospel. Legendary short seller Jim Chanos, the guy who saw Enron collapsing before it was cool, says the stock's premium over Bitcoin isn't justified. He's running an arbitrage trade where he shorts strategy while buying Bitcoin directly, which is essentially the financial version of calling BS, but with leverage. Still, if Bitcoin does hit $1 million, strategy market cap could melt some faces. And Saylor, well, he won't just be a CEO, he'll be economic Moses, leading us all to the promised land of SAT-based valuation models, with laser eyes, of course. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we're back, we're going to talk about how many people in the world actually hold a full Bitcoin, and is it too late for you? I don't know. We'll talk about it. More in the Blockchain Report when we come back.
Security matters. Zappo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
So, tell us about your furry friend here. What's his name?
Oh, this? This is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It's not just a cat, he's family.
Quite a name, and I must say, looks quite pampered.
Oh, absolutely. Bitcoin deserves nothing but the best. He's my little prince.
But with such a valuable pet, aren't you afraid of losing him?
Losing Bitcoin? No, it never happened before, so it's not something I worry about. Excuse me for a moment. Bitcoin, stay here, right? Bitcoin, no! Bitcoin! Come on, little buddy! Bitcoin! I need you! Don't go!
Alrighty, welcome back to this morning's Bull Run. And do you know remember what used to mean you were actually rich, right? It was like owning a beachfront property or a Rolex or a private jet. Now, owning one entire Bitcoin, because as of today, fewer than 1 million wallets in existence actually hold a full BTC. There are nearly 20 million Bitcoin in circulation right now. But thanks to halving events, block rewards shrinking, and corporations stockpiling like Bitcoin is canned food during the apocalypse, that number isn't rising quickly. According to blockchain data, there are around 983,000 wallets holding one or more whole Bitcoins. But before you get too excited and think there are a million Satoshis out there sipping margaritas, many of those wallets belong to exchanges, companies, and treasury strategies that split holdings across multiple wallets. Yeah, which means the real number of actual individuals who own a full coin is closer to 800,000. And to put that into some additional perspective for you, there are more people living in San Francisco right now than there are full Bitcoiners on the planet. Strategy Inc. is still the heavyweight champ here. As we know, they hold nearly 629,000 Bitcoin. At recent prices, that stack is worth around $72 billion in BTC alone. And yeah, their market cap is over 108 billion, which means people are paying a premium for the honor of riding shotgun on the old sailor train. Meanwhile, Binance holds the largest single wallet with over 248,000 BTC, which is either really impressive or terrifying depending on how much you like CZ. So where does that leave everyone else? Well, there are over 54.6 million wallet addresses that hold some Bitcoin, most of them holding fractions that won't even cover dinner at Chipotle if Bitcoin crashes back to 30K. And with the price of BTC hovering between 114 and 119K, this trend isn't reversing anytime soon, as owning a full coin used to be a meme. Now it's a status symbol. The Lambo may be optional, but having one Bitcoin in your cold wallet, that's starting to look like real digital royalty. And in a move that finally gives getting paid in exposure a run for its money, crypto professionals are now actually getting paid in crypto. According to Pantera Capital's latest survey of 1,600 crypto workers across 77 countries, yeah, they counted. The number of people receiving salaries in crypto tripled in 2024. Specifically, 9.6% now get their paychecks in stablecoins, because nothing says financial innovation like making it easier to get underpaid in a currency that doesn't swing 40% in a week. Circle's USDC is dominating payrolls, making up 63% of stablecoin payments, even though Tether's USDT is still the most traded stablecoin on Earth. Apparently, that's because none of the major payroll providers, we're talking Deal, Remote, or Rippling, even offer Tether, which feels like a choice. Combined, USDC and USDT account for over 90% of all reported crypto paychecks. But it's not just about what coin you're paid in, it's also about how long you have to stick around to earn it. Nearly 88% of token comp packages now have 4-year vesting schedules, up from 64% the year previously. So, because nothing actually screams or nothing builds loyalty like promising someone tokens that might be worthless by the time they're fully vested. Also fun is that professionals with just a bachelor's degree earned more than those with a master's or a doctorate. Bachelor's, $286K. Masters, $214K, and PhDs, $226K, which proves two things. Technical skills trumps academic clout, and student debt is a Ponzi scheme. Meanwhile, Circle isn't playing around. They partnered with ICE, the parent of the New York Stock Exchange, to bring USDC into global derivatives markets. They're also gunning for a federal trust bank charter and got a massive boost when Trump signed the Genius Act, making stablecoin regulation sound like a Marvel origin story. Now, the future of payroll? Well, apparently it's on chain and mostly in USDC. And do you remember James Howell? He's the guy that lost 8,000 Bitcoin back in 2013. And instead of giving up, he starting a podcast or building a meditation app like a normal tech bro. He spent the last 12 years trying to dig a landfill in Wales. Now, the missing hard drive, casually worth $913 million at today's prices, was tossed by his ex-girlfriend during a cleanup session that's now in the running for worst decluttering decision in human history. And also, worst ex ever, guys, right? Oh my God. Now, Howells offered to pay the city of Newport over $30 million to dig it up. Then he filed a bunch of lawsuits, even begged politicians. All of them denied him. Why? Well, apparently excavating tons of trash to find a glorified USB stick isn't a compelling enough public service. So now he's done asking permission, and in possibly the most on-brand crypto pivot of all time, he's planning to tokenize the entire wallet. Introducing Cineog Coin, a Bitcoin Layer 2 token named after the Welsh penny. Now the plan here? Mint 800 billion Cineog tokens and back them with the mythical 8,000 BTC, which he doesn't have access to, but still technically owns. Totally normal. The idea is to create a fast, scalable Web3 payment ecosystem, backed by a wallet that currently lives in a dump. He's calling it payment-focused, high-speed, and secured by the Bitcoin blockchain. Which sounds great, except for the part where the hard drive is still under literal mountains of Welsh garbage. Also, fun twist, he once appealed to Donald Trump for help, because apparently the only thing more unhinged than this idea is the possibility that Trump might actually be into it. Now, for now, the Newport City Council has declined to comment on it, but somewhere in that landfill, a fortune sleeps, and James Howells, well, he's still digging, both literally and metaphorically. And you know what happens when you have buyers and no more supply? You get a Bitcoin chart that looks like a SpaceX launch. According to market analyst Bedlam Capital Press, the Bitcoin supply shock isn't coming, it's already happening. And it's about to be uncorked like a bottle of champagne at a bull market wedding. Here's the math, all right? So Strategy Inc. has bought 182,391 Bitcoin year to date, mostly from OTC desks. But those desks, they're down to 155,000 BTC in total, which means the next time Sailor comes a-calling, he'll have to buy from public exchanges. And when whales start feeding in the open water, retail tends to get eaten. Glassnode confirms that exchange balances are bottoming out, currently sitting at 2.919 million Bitcoin. That's down, way down. Meanwhile, on Monday alone, corporate treasuries added 630 BTC, even while the price was wobbling around 3-week lows. So the institutions aren't slowing down. They're buying the dip like it's 2020 all over again. But here's where things get a little extra spicy. Profit taking is still happening to the tune of $1 billion in realized gains over a 24-hour span. And get this, roughly 35% of that came from ancient coins. So we're talking coins held for 7 to 10 years. Either those were internal transfers or a few OGs just decided to buy a yacht and disappear. I get it. Now, Glassnode says the market is shifting from euphoria to reassessment, with oversold conditions and seller exhaustion starting to appear. Or in other words, a bounce is coming. But the system is fragile, and any negative catalyst, we're talking regulation, FUD, or another Elon tweet, could stall momentum. Still, the big takeaway is this: Bitcoin's float is evaporating. OTC desks are dry, and exchanges are scraping the barrel. And the corporate treasuries are still hungry. At some point soon, that supply squeeze is going to detonate the price. And when it does, you'll want to be holding the asset, not the receipts. All right, we're taking a break here, but when we're back, we're going to go into some blockchain without borders, and we're going to talk about what country wants to fund their Bitcoin mining with nuclear power. Sounds dangerous. We'll talk about it. More of that Blockchain Report coming back after this.
In a world far away. Nah, just kidding. This story begins in this world. It all started in 1460 in Antwerp, when the first commodities exchange was created, but the real transformation came in 1602, when the Amsterdam Stock Exchange was founded. Considered the oldest in the world, it was the first to trade financial assets. Over the years, Britain expanded its colonial and maritime influence, and the British pound sterling overtook the Dutch guilder in the market. Thus, the London Stock Exchange became the financial centre of the world. The 20th century came, and the world got into some trouble. But shortly after World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement established the dollar as the world's primary reserve currency, and the center of the planet moved to Wall Street. Today, we're traveling at the speed of light towards a new age, an era shaped by the consolidation of Bitcoin as the currency that will define the future of the markets. We present Roxom, a new Bitcoin-denominated market that allows trading all sorts of securities, commodities, derivatives, options, and anything you can imagine. Roxom, rock-solid markets.
All right, welcome back. It's time for a little blockchain without borders. First up, Indonesia might be gearing up to drop a monetary atom bomb on the global financial stage as a proposed Bitcoin reserve strategy that could involve locking away over 200,000 BTC. Because when you're the 16th largest economy in the world and you've tried everything but financial freedom, why not YOLO into digital gold? Now, this idea comes straight from the vice president's office, which, let's be honest, is not where you'd expect to find cutting-edge crypto strategy, but here we are. Bitcoin Indonesia, the country's largest BTC community, said they've been in talks with government officials about using Bitcoin mining, yes, mining, as a national reserve strategy. Apparently, education is also part of the plan because nothing says we're serious like dropping hundreds of millions into a hyper-volatile digital asset while also admitting your citizens still need to Google what it is. Now, for some context here, Indonesia has over 280 million people and a $1.4 trillion GDP. So this isn't a cute little beach town making TikToks about crypto. This is a major player considering a real move into sovereign Bitcoin accumulation. Now, if this actually happens, Indonesia could be the first Southeast Asian country to say, "Fiat be damned," and add Bitcoin to its national balance sheet. It'd be a bold move in a region still navigating how to regulate crypto without accidentally making everyone rich or accidentally sending them to jail. Here's the kicker. Crypto payments are currently banned in Indonesia. They've even warned tourists about using it. And yet, real estate listings in Bali have been quietly accepting Bitcoin for years. Because nothing's more romantic than buying your honeymoon villa with peer-to-peer money and a side of regulatory risk. Now, to complicate things further, the country recently saw a 1,300% spike in suspicious crypto activity. Yeah, that's over 1,000% increase in a single quarter, which is either a compelling reason for Bitcoin because inflation and corruption, or a compelling reason against it because laundering, scams, and, chaos. Either way, if Indonesia follows through, it would mean pulling hundreds of thousands of BTC off the open market, which could help drive up the price for the rest of us, assuming, of course, they don't lose the wallet keys somewhere in the jungle. I mean, it happens, And the Rassemblement National Party in France has had a change of heart. And by change of heart, we mean a full-on ideological backflip. Once calling for an outright ban on crypto, they're now proposing to use France's excess nuclear power to mine Bitcoin. Apparently, being far-right doesn't mean you can't be pro-hash rate. Marine Le Pen, who once warned crypto would destroy civilization, now thinks it might actually save France's economy. And nothing says economic reform quite like turning a nuclear plant into a Bitcoin farm. But why the change of heart, you ask? Well, it's because France produces too much electricity. So much, in fact, they've been paying other countries to take it off their hands. Yeah, paying other countries to take their energy. Now, in March, they reportedly shelled out nearly 12,000 euro per megawatt hour to offload power. And to put that into some perspective, that's like offering someone $1,000 to eat your leftover meatloaf. So the Rassemblement National is proposing legislation to mine Bitcoin at state-owned nuclear plants. When demand is low, let's fire up the old ASICs. And when demand is high, just shut them off. Efficient, scalable, and for once, not totally insane. The proposed 5-year pilot program could generate up to $150 million annually from unused power. And the cherry on top of all this as well, they plan to recycle the mining rig's heat to warm buildings, greenhouses, or dry lumber. Because nothing says sustainable crypto like heating your baguette oven with Bitcoin miners, am I right? Yeah. Still, not everyone's on board. Environmentalists absolutely hate it because, mining bad. Some politicians say it threatens monetary policy, and others are uncomfortable that it's being proposed by the far right, which, let's be honest, is kind of fair. But France wouldn't be alone in this. Bhutan's doing it with hydro, El Salvador is doing it with volcanoes, and Pakistan wants to do it with 2,000 megawatts of excess juice. This is turning into a digital arms race, if you will, and France, might actually be entering the chat. Whether they pass the bill, well, that's another question, but the fact that it's even on the table, that is pretty bullish, my friends, and whatever bullish is in French. Bullish. All right, we're taking a break. When we're back, Tales from Hollywood. Let's see what's going on at the intersection of crypto and Hollywood. And also, we're going to be joined in the studio today by BTCviv to talk about Bitcoin Asia and what you can expect from that event. All that coming up, much more on the Blockchain Report. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. welcome back. It's time for little Tales from Hollywood, where we talk about the intersection of Hollywood and crypto and AI and all that good stuff because, you know, it's fun. Well, Hollywood, turns out they are done playing nice with our old robot friends as Universal Pictures has officially entered its don't train your creepy machine brains on our intellectual property era, and they're bringing the lawyers. Starting in June with How to Train Your Dragon, ironically, the studio has started slapping legal warnings at the end of its movies that say, and we quote, "This motion picture may not be used to train AI." Yeah, we're now putting cease and desist notices in the credits. You'll find the same message in Jurassic World Rebirth and Bad Guys 2, because nothing screams do not duplicate quite like the fine print that shows up after most people have already left the theater. But make no mistake, this is a preemptive strike against big tech scraping terabytes of blockbuster content to power the next wave of AI-generated sludge. You know, like those Mid-Journey prompts that magically return exact frames from Infinity War, Top Gun Maverick, or Shrek, and somehow we're supposed to believe they weren't trained on the real thing? Sure. And Fast and the Furious 12 is about to get a suitable, subtle character development. Universal's legal strategy hinges on copyright law, referencing a 2019 European regulation that lets creators opt out of scientific research data mining by explicitly reserving their rights, which is legal speak for if we find our dragon in your training data, you better lawyer up. Now, Universal and Disney are already suing Mid-Journey after the tool started churning out AI versions of Ratatouille, the Lego movie, and other beloved IP with unnerving accuracy. And at the heart of the lawsuit, well, a question that could decide the future of AI media. Does fair use cover training models on copyrighted films without paying anyone? Authors already lost similar cases against Meta and Amazon-backed Anthropic. But, silver lining, courts left open the idea that if the content was illegally downloaded, there could be liability for damages. And those damages can hit $150,000 per work, which means a model trained on, let's say, 1,000 Universal films could owe $150 million. Chump change for big tech, life-changing though for the legal interns writing those cease and desist notices. Meanwhile, the AI industry is doubling down. Amazon-backed Fable Studios is building Showrunner, a platform that lets users make entire TV episodes with a few words and a selfie. Their endgame, a full-on AI-generated movie in theaters by 2026. That's next year. And they're even in talks with Disney to license official IP, because if you're going to let fans make fan fiction, you might as well monetize the collapse of narrative integrity. One exec said, "This is the future of entertainment. Watch a season, love it, then generate your own episodes and insert yourself into the show. Because nothing says creative fulfillment quite like watching a deep-faked version of yourself co-starring with AI Vin Diesel." Oh my God. Yeah, incredible, I'm in. I am in. I am so in. Let's do it. I don't care. Naturally, the studios are terrified. Audiences are curious, and AI companies are lining up to vacuum whatever copyrighted data they can get their hands on. Universal's new approach might not stop the machines, but it could make scraping Minions 4 a very, very expensive mistake. The war for creative control has officially left the writer's room and entered the courtroom, so prepare yourselves. I'm sorry, that seems incredible, though. I can't wait to see what Vin and I have to do on our next adventures together. In other news, Disney CEO Bob Iger hopped on an earnings call this week and tried to convince investors that the company still has original ideas somewhere under the mountain of remakes, reboots, and prequels. When asked whether Disney plans to prioritize new IP or more sequels, Iger basically said, neither, both, whatever makes money, really. In CEO speak, the official quote was, "Our priority is to put out great movies that resonate with consumers," which sounds nice, but also sounds like something you say when you're greenlighting the third live-action version of Moana before the ink is even dry on the second one. Now, to be fair, the live-action Lilo and Stitch recently passed $1 billion globally because apparently nostalgia still prints more cash than innovation. So, of course, there's another live-action Moana slated for 2026 because Disney's new motto is, if it worked once, we can sell it twice with worse lighting. Iger insisted that the studio is still developing original content under banners like Searchlight and 20th Century Studios, which is like saying you're working on your novel while managing 5 OnlyFans accounts. He also made the slightly bold claim that Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot counts as original IP because, and I quote, wait for this, we're introducing those characters to people who are not familiar with them at all. Or in other words, if you've never heard of it, it's new to you. The reboot is currently at the top of the box office, but took a massive dive after opening weekend, proving that brand recognition gets you a big Friday, but not necessarily a good Monday. Now, Iger's line about prioritizing great movies sounds noble, but let's not forget here, Disney now owns Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, Fox, and Hulu, and yet somehow we still can't get through a year without another Frozen, Toy Story, or whatever live-action reboot is left. Now, at this point, Disney has remade everything short of Bambi, Blood Moon. Boy, I should have made a graphic for that. And that's probably in development anyway, so graphic pending. Now, the real play here is keep mining the past while AI content looms on the horizon. Because if you're gonna fight synthetic storytelling, you might as well weaponize nostalgia. So whether you're into new IP or recycled IP in a slightly different font, Bob Iger wants you to know they're not picking sides, they're picking whatever sells tickets. And if it happens to be Moana again, well, so be it. Victor, I want to talk to you about this. We got a couple things to kind of digest here. You're a cinephile. I know you see all the new movies that are out there. What are your thoughts on this? I feel like we're not getting enough new original content. We're recycling the same stuff and putting it in different packaging. How do you feel about this?
It's kind of complicated. Like, I understand. I wish there was more original stories. But the fact is that these reboots and sequels is what bring people to the theater. And right now, like, the movie industry isn't the best. And, a lot of theaters are closing down. So
Yeah.
I kind of understand why Iger's doing it. So, yeah. I mean,
It's like
I'm conflicted about it.
they're banking on they're banking on IP that's already been proven to some extent. But then you have like this new Fantastic Four reboot, which I think during the last, 10 or like maybe 15 or 20 years, it's the third cast of Fantastic Four, and it had that big opening weekend. But I think since then, I think it's barely breaking even in the box office despite huge budgets. And you got Pedro Pascal is in this too. And what are we supposed to do to promote new and original content rather than recycling the same gobbledygook that we saw 15 years ago? What do you think? Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I'm at a loss here. I mean, there is original movies out there. It's just people don't, it's all IP based now, fortunately.
Yeah.
But you can do stuff creative, was it last year or 2 years ago with Barbie? That was all the IP, but the story was original. It could have been named anything. It didn't have to be a Barbie. It could be whatever, like a doll story,
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
something they can do, use the IP as something, but create something bigger than that. Like that one video game movie they were making about a race. I forget what it was called. We did a story a while ago.
Need for Speed?
No, not Need for Speed.
They made that into a movie.
Like
that had Jesse, the guy who played Jesse Pinkman and
from Breaking Bad.
Didn't really work out though.
No. It's
It makes me think we're just going to be a new one?
Yeah, it's a new movie.
The F1 movie.
No. Which that was good. If you like Top Gun, you should watch that one.
You should watch F1.
No, it's
Yeah, I heard it's good.
forgot what it was called, but it was this video game from like the 80s, I think. It's super simple. Sydney Sweeney's supposed to be in it. We talked about this.
Oh, I know it's like a motocross or something.
Yeah, it's like super.
I know what you're talking
It's a super
about.
simple game. I don't think it has any storyline or anything, and they're making a movie out of it. So I guess that's how you get creative now. Just using that IP,
Well, they might.
creating something new.
Yeah. I mean, despite Sydney Sweeney's many talents, they might want to take her out of that one before someone claims it's eugenics influenced or something again. She's not having a good run of it right now. Through no fault of her own. That stuff's crazy, by the way. But it makes me think we're just going to be digging down further this digital IP well for anything. What's next? Bottom of the barrel stuff. We're going to have Care Bears movies, or I don't know. What are like? I mean, I don't need more Ghostbusters. It's just we're exhausting everything. It almost makes me think that maybe. What's that?
Is there like a movie from your childhood that you would like them to like reboot or do a sequel to that they
Yes.
haven't?
Yes. Live action Land Before Time. It's a dinosaur movie. We need more dinosaur movies. Jurassic Park's played out. I can't do it anymore. Maybe like that, some of those older cartoons. But I guess they kind of did that with like Aladdin and stuff already. What I think is going to happen is, I think with the emergence of AI, I think that people are going to create their own, and maybe they get like crowdsourced to maybe people actually create some good stuff. And then maybe if it gets, you know, enough traction, maybe then those go to the streaming platforms. Maybe not the movie theaters, but you know, people create great stuff all the time. There's 8 billion people out there. You're going to get, it's like kind of that theory that if you put a bunch of orangutans or monkeys in a room, eventually one of them is going to type Shakespeare. So if you get enough people doing this with AI, people are going to create some new cool stuff eventually. You know, like those Fast and the Furious spinoff that I'm in, the Bitcoin race one. That could be fun. I don't know.
Once that showrunner thing from Amazon starts, you should definitely do a movie with yourself and Vin Diesel.
Oh, God, help me. Yeah, I mean, Paul Walker's probably turning in his grave right now.
I mean,
He's
with
like,
AI,
"Get
you can
this
bring him back."
blonde and get this really poor homeless man version of me out of here. I can't have him take it in. God bless you, Paul Walker. You were a good one. I don't know. I'm at odds with it, but that's the way the world is moving. So what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
If you could put yourself, though, in one franchise before I let you go, what would you do?
Like which franchise?
Yeah, you could put yourself in the next iteration of Jurassic Park or something else. I feel like it'd be Jurassic Park, though, for you.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get eaten by a dinosaur. Although I love that franchise, but that would be insane. I'm trying to think like of a safe, non-dangerous, non-life risking franchise.
Well, you don't have to risk anything. It's for fun. And to give our audience some context, Victor actually has the Jurassic Park Jeep, and he's got the symbols on it. We drive around it, and people like, yell at us and stuff all the time. It's incredible. So I think we're going to have to make Jurassic Park like T-Rex goes through San Francisco or Oakland or something.
There you go.
I don't care. I don't know. All right, let's take a break. When we're coming back, we got more Blockchain Report, and we will be joined by BTCviv to talk Bitcoin Asia and what you can expect there. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. And we're back, and we've got some exciting news, so hold your horses here. The Bitcoin world has officially entered its celebrity cameo phase. And next up on the mic, Eric Trump. Yeah, that Eric Trump. The second most famous Trump son is scheduled to deliver the keynote speech at the Bitcoin Asia conference this August in Hong Kong. Because when you think cutting-edge blockchain insight, your mind obviously goes to a man best known for being born into real estate. But don't sleep on this one. Eric's actually been making the rounds in the crypto space lately. At the Consensus Conference in Toronto earlier this year, he went full permabull, praising Bitcoin's liquidity as better than real estate, calling it digital gold, and even alleging that the same deep state that went after his dad also tried to suppress crypto. And yeah, that statement got exactly the kind of reaction you'd expect from a room full of blockchain VC bros and podcast hosts. His speech at Bitcoin Asia is expected to cover a variety of topics: the opportunity of crypto, the challenges of regulation, and how Bitcoin can disrupt the traditional financial system. All things you'd expect from someone who, up until recently, was known more for golf courses than block explorers. Still, this isn't nothing. BTC Asia is a very serious event. It brings in top investors, tech founders, and crypto diehards from around the globe, including our very own Borja Martel Seward, who will also be in attendance. And having a high-profile American political figure, even if his last name makes half the room clap and half the other rage quit, is a signal that crypto's going mainstream in weird, very weird ways in 2025. It also shows that the Trump family isn't slowing down on its full-court press to claim crypto as their next culture war turf. Donald's already signed the first federal stablecoin law, created the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, and iced lawsuits against Coinbase and Uniswap. Meanwhile, Eric is out here giving keynote speeches about why Bitcoin is better than property portfolios in Palm Springs. Now, love them or hate them, the Trumps are all in on Bitcoin now, which means the next bull market might not be driven by tech nerds in hoodies, but by political legacies with campaign merch and Lightning wallets. We're not saying it all makes sense. We're saying this is the timeline we're in now. All right, so to talk about Bitcoin Asia, we have our amazing guest today. She is rejoining us for her second appearance here on the Blockchain Report, and she remains one of the most inspiring voices connecting East and West in the global Bitcoin movement. She's one of the driving forces behind the production of Bitcoin Asia and the soulful host of Life with Bitcoin and the artist Ivy Lumi, reminding us that Bitcoin isn't just code, it's culture. Please welcome back to the show the one and only BTCviv. Just like last time, we're super pumped to have you, and so is our audience. How are you, Viv? Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me back, and stoked to come again and talk all things Bitcoin Asia.
Absolutely. And let's just jump right into it, okay? You're producing Bitcoin Asia this year. What makes this event stand out from the rest of the global Bitcoin conference series?
I would say we're bringing the biggest Bitcoin conference to Asia, and this will be the second year of Bitcoin Asia, and we're facing a full level upgrade, I would say. Last year it happened in beginning of May, and we really only had a few months to put this conference together. And this year we're upgrading to the venue that are right in the downtown Hong Kong area, with all of the cultural adventures that's right close to you, as well as the timing with all of the exciting updates happening in the space. We're excited to really be the playing field for Bitcoiners and people work in this industry as a whole who want to see the future of Bitcoin really take place in a global scale. And this is the place to be, where we unite all of the Bitcoiners from the East and West in one place in Hong Kong. It's a magical place. I wish everybody not only come for the conference, but also treat this as the whole Bitcoin experience in and outside of the event.
Well, it sounds incredible. And for people out there who have only attended Western-focused Bitcoin events, what kind of, cultural energy can they expect in Hong Kong? I mean, it sounds amazing, but I've never been. So tell us, what can we anticipate?
I would say right now we see a lot of Bitcoiners. They go to conferences, they go to events based on the destination. And oftentimes the Bitcoin conference is not the sole pull of why people are traveling to these places and making connections. It's also because of the place itself that hold history, hold magic of connecting people in the space. So Hong Kong is a very unique place. In 2015, I would say 2016, during the block size war, Hong Kong actually have been a really important frontier, uniting the community of Bitcoiners. And there's so many great developers, great startups that really started to gain attraction on the Bitcoin standard from Hong Kong. And from in the last 10 years, I would say the because we have so many new things happening in the West, the strategic relevance and importance of Hong Kong kind of quieted down a little bit. But right now we're seeing new institutional efforts. We're seeing policy changes. People are getting curious, not only for Bitcoin, but in the blockchain space in general and the technology behind it. The East market, I would say, have a bit more explorative approach when it comes to Bitcoin than the Western market, and this has initially surprised me as well in last year's Bitcoin Asia, where Western Bitcoiner community were still very focused on the base layer technology, still very focused on the only layer 2 that are gaining attraction would be Lightning. They're by far leading the most, but in Asia that's not the case. In Asia we're seeing a lot more explorative approach in terms of Bitcoin adoption. They're developers and innovators. They're trying to see what else can we do on the Bitcoin standard. What can we really leverage Bitcoin as a technology to imagine a future where Bitcoin is the base layer technology, and what else can we build on it? So there's a lot more explorative opportunistic conversations happening there, and they are using Bitcoin in ways that are more dynamic. So it's a great place to see. Bitcoin Asia will be a great place for the East and West Bitcoiners to come together and compare approaches, I would say. And in terms of Hong Kong, it's a magical place, and even it was actually my first time going to Hong Kong in last year's Bitcoin Asia. And as an Asian person myself, I grew up in Asia, and I was even blown away by the combination of technology and culture and nature, really, because you wouldn't really imagine that Hong Kong being a really small space and have all of these financial legacy in the past. You wouldn't think that it's a nature place, but it's an island. It's by the sea, so you see the mountains. The skyscrapers are actually taller than the mountains, so that's something I guess we don't usually experience. It's one of the things that you get to experience in Hong Kong.
Very cool. And you know, every year it seems like there's a different narrative around Bitcoin. This year it seems to have kind of been, at least here in the West, the rise of corporate adoption, right? What do you think is the big theme or message that you're hoping to bring forward through this year's Bitcoin Asia conference?
For sure. This year, Bitcoin Asia's theme is signal over noise. So I would say there are a few center of focuses how we're trying to deliver this theme. First is that we made a really bold move of making our GA pass free, and this is for a period, and this is about to end, and we'll get into that. But we made our GA pass free. The hope is that we can really give back to the community and expose ourselves and to the general public, and provide an opportunity for these Bitcoin curious folks that are local to come join us, to have this opportunity to learn more about Bitcoin firsthand. So a lot of the content will be really coming back to the basic to talk about what is Bitcoin, because that narrative is almost something is missing in the Asian community, where Bitcoin is very much treated as a cryptocurrency, just like many other cryptocurrencies that are popular, and people in this market seem to get exposed to the general crypto theme, even ordinals, even NFTs. They kind of got into the space through these projects, through these other coins. And then they saw Bitcoin, but in their mind they perhaps don't make the emphasis on Bitcoin, or they don't really understand what is there any difference between Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and other I guess popular applications on the blockchain. So part of the agenda, part of how we're planning to deliver on signal over noise is really to come back to the basic and share with our attendee what is Bitcoin and why is it relevant, depending on whoever you are. Why is it relevant as an individual? Why is it relevant as an artist? Why is it relevant if for a business owner, let alone if you are if you're in the industry or not? How can you individually or for the organization you work for adapt Bitcoin for the better? How can you equip yourself with the knowledge so you can put your best foot forward, basically? So that's one element of focus. For on the individual level, we're trying to really attract people into the Bitcoin system and see how can they benefit themselves on the Bitcoin standard. And then right now we're seeing so many institutional adoption, policy effort, and so many new development are happening in the space, and we don't know what actually will happen. So this conference, we're also hoping to gather these important voices, the most important voices in the industry, East and West. We're gathering them together in one place and listening to their what do they know, so that we as individuals, as organizational representatives, or stakeholders in the industry, I guess, can really equip ourselves with what's really happening with the people who are making the decisions. So these, on the two sides, this is how we're planning to deliver the signal, and the signal is also coming through with our roastery of speakers, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. It sounds like you're really taking a pragmatic approach of kind of bridging the gap between West and East Bitcoiners right now. Because it sounds like in Asia, it's like, as we here in the West right now, it's becoming a thing where there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else, right? Bitcoin and there's cryptocurrency. They're kind of two different things, but it sounds like those are still kind of lumped in to one batch in Asia. So what was was that kind of your personal vision for Bitcoin Asia when you started producing it? And has that vision changed or evolved at all as you've gone on, as we get closer to the actual launch date of Bitcoin Asia?
Right. I would say even from last year, the focus was really, the hope was really to have a playing field for Bitcoiners that are Bitcoin focused in Asia. Because if we take a look at all of the other bigger events that are in our space that take place regularly in Hong Kong, they have more of a general blockchain focus, cryptocurrency focus. So the laser focus of Bitcoin conference as the event series, as a company ethos, is not really the Bitcoin only mentality and the Bitcoin focused mentality in events. It's not really getting fruition in Hong Kong. So even last year, we were really trying to position ourselves so that we can provide this playing field for Bitcoiners from East and West to come together and connect. And I would say this year, this vision is way better executed, just because we had more time and more resources coming into the Bitcoin Asia conference this year. So lots to look forward to.
Absolutely. But how do you go about designing the event so that it feels welcoming to both hardcore Bitcoiners, but then also to these people that are new to this space? It sounds like you're doing that with the free GA tickets, which is a great start. Are there other things you're doing to promote education for people that are newbies in this space, while also making the OGs still feel welcome and excited about all the new developments that are happening with Bitcoin in Asia?
Of course, this is why we're starting to really curate the experience depending on who you are and why you're coming to Bitcoin Asia. For the vast majority of people, if you're only Bitcoin curious and if you're in the area, or if you, I guess, need an excuse to come visit Hong Kong, then the free GA pass will be a great opportunity, and you actually have the opportunity to take advantage of the free pass for not too long anymore. We're stopping the free GA pass on August 9th. So there's a few days left for everybody who wants to take advantage to come to Bitcoin Asia for free. This free GA pass for now that will provide about 80%, 70 to 80% of the entire access of the conference for both stages and then the entire expo hall. So I would say there's tons of value already from the GA pass. So definitely come check it out and you will love this experience. For anyone who has a business agenda and wanting to come to Bitcoin Asia, then this is where the Pro Pass and Well Pass kick in. For the GA pass holders, the hope is that they come and have fun. They come and really enjoy the conference and enjoy the content, enjoy the vibe, and get to know all these companies to get their entry point into the space. And hopefully this will be the place where they really go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. For people who have any business agenda, who are looking to make connections, who are looking to understand the latest industry trend, trying to understand what will actually happen in Bitcoin in the next year, then you would definitely want more access on more content that are more dedicated into the future of the industry and what's actually happening with some of the biggest players in the industry. So for Pro Pass and Well Pass holders, these are paid passes and with ticket price going up very soon, all the way until the conference. There will be a dedicated access on both days where there are areas and programming and content where only Pro Pass and Well Pass holders can access. And then if you are really there to maximize your experience while having a good time, then the Well Pass would be the absolute choice to unlock exclusive access and unlock even more exclusive content that happening at the VIP session. And then you will have these are a really small and intimate space. So you will literally be right in front of the speakers and have a chance to make personal connections and share, I guess, make connections and see where this leads. So it's a lot about access and what you're trying to do at Bitcoin Asia. Would recommend anyone who has a business agenda, trying to make connections, look for investments, look for strategic partners, and find business opportunities in general. Definitely consider Pro and Well Pass going forward.
Well, it certainly sounds like you got something for everybody, which is incredible. And you said there's less, I think looking at the top of the main page of the Bitcoin Asia website, there's less than 17 hours to get your free GA pass. So just for our audience members at home, if we have some out in the East that are watching the show, where can they go to actually reserve their pass for free in the next 17 hours? Because time is dwindling away very quickly. And if you want to get in for free, you got to act fast. So what's the best place they can go right now to do so?
For sure. The best place to get tickets would be on the Bitcoin Asia website. And do note that our free GA pass will be available until end of August 8th. So you actually have a few more days to collect your free GA pass. The price increase ticker that you're seeing on the screen, these are for the Pro and Well Pass. So if you do want to grab your pass for Pro Pass or Well Pass, now is the time before the price increase again. For free GA Pass, you have a couple more days until the end of August 8th. But don't wait. From August 9th, we will be starting to charge $59 for the GA Pass. That gets you the same experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd much rather spend that $59 on buying a couple of sats so I got more skin in the game rather than, buying a pass that could be free, but hey, you're still getting a really good value for $59 even if you miss the GA pass for free. I know what I really love about the Bitcoin events is kind of seeing how Bitcoin fuses in with culture, right? And you personally are known for merging community, art, and culture into your events. How is that being woven into the fabric of the Bitcoin Asia experience this year?
I would say we have of course, we have a really big team organizing this event, and there's so many characteristics Bitcoiners that are in the event space, and we're constantly looking for ways to incorporate culture into the event experience. So just like our legacy event, at all of our events, we have a very significant element on art. So there's we have a dedicated art gallery without spilling the beans too much. We have a very impressive LED display, and then we have a dedicated art gallery featuring some of the artwork that are I guess, documenting the economical journey where Bitcoin really took place. So they also hold a lot of cultural and sentimental meaning, and help us visualize the journey of life with Bitcoin and then Bitcoin's journey as a whole in the last 15, 16 years. So there's a significant art element that will be in the realm of Bitcoin Asia. And then we'll also be able to see from the stage design, from the visuals, the graphic, the vibe that you will be experiencing on site. There's a lot of things that in the pipeline would be looking forward for everyone to see on site.
Yeah, I bet you guys have some very cool things in play. If it's any indication, I mean, the art installations they had at BTC Vegas this year were outstanding, and I'd be really excited to see what those look like at your conference in Asia. I'm sure they are wholly different and wholly amazing in their own unique ways. Now, one thing I know that everybody is really excited about at the Bitcoin Asia conference are the keynote speakers. Are there any keynote speakers or standout guests that you're most excited about that'll be attending the conference this year?
Oh yeah, for sure. Me personally, of course, we have a roastery of amazing speakers. I'm very looking forward to Irene. She's a Bitcoin astrologer, and she's joining us for the first time as a speaker at Bitcoin Asia. And then we'll be looking forward to her session talking about the alignment between Bitcoin and among the stars.
Very cool. And I also believe you have Eric Trump will be speaking at the event. How does that fit, and how important is that into the bigger East-West narrative for Bitcoin? Do you think it's a big thing that he's coming all the way from the colonies here to Hong Kong to talk Bitcoin at the Bitcoin Asia conference? Does that kind of help tie the East and West together a little bit in this unified Bitcoin mission?
I would say there are many ways we can be looking at it, and all positive. And this is not the first time we're welcoming Mr. Eric Trump to our conference. So it's great to actually have the opportunity to have him join Hong Kong as part of our conference circuit. I would say the impact would be massive. And there are so many people, and we'll be attracting so many eyeballs that are not yet into Bitcoin, or not yet understanding the impact of Bitcoin as a technology, as a financial product, or just as a tool for personal freedom. This could actually be a starting point for people to pay attention, because we can only oftentimes there's a threshold for us to start paying more attention than for anything, really. Like there needs to be this entry point for them to start thinking, now what? Because this person is into this Bitcoin, and maybe now I should look into it because there's a reason why he's into it, and I listen to this person, or I pay attention to what they're saying, right? Or they must know something that I don't. So I think for speakers that are high profile, just like Eric Trump, they will bring a lot of new attention into the space, and hopefully serving as a starting point for a lot of people's rabbit hole. And then for people who are already inside of the space, this doesn't happen every day, so he doesn't really just go to any of the crypto event that happens in Hong Kong. So we're really grateful for this opportunity to host this event where we can bring him to Hong Kong and to a global stage where Bitcoiners can listen to what's happening in this realm of the world in Bitcoin community, and to really push the adoption from there. It's gonna be massive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having those big names certainly acts as a gateway to people's curiosities. You know, people hear the name Trump right now, Trump in America, for better or worse, but in the crypto community, it's a big deal right now specifically. So I'm sure just hearing that, oh, there's going to be a Trump here, certainly piques a lot of people's interest in the Eastern culture that may have not been initially interested in the event. And they might be like, this might be something worth checking out. And this kind of begs the question, like, what's the speaker selection process like? Like, how do you strike the right balance between regional voices and then bringing in some global heavyweights as well?
Yeah, for sure. So the programming aspect, we have a dedicated professional team for to handle programming. So I can only speak, I guess, a little bit on this. We always kind of start from the key areas that we want to focus on based on the theme. And this year, because of the theme, we're focusing a lot more on Bitcoin beginner content, regulations and policies, things like capital markets, Bitcoin treasury company, or Bitcoin treasury as a concept as a whole. There's also a lot of emphasis on mining, sustainability, the scaling of Bitcoin, layer twos, including Lightning, innovation, decentralization, and culture. So there's a lot of segments that we touch on from the programming perspective. Then from these buckets, basically, we started to identify, okay, so who are the key voices in these areas from the East and West? Do we already have contacts with them? Can we invite them to come to Bitcoin Asia? So that's how the process usually starts. And I think we're not done announcing our speakers, so stay tuned to our full roster of speakers. It's gonna be a very diverse lineup for a Bitcoin conference, to hear from cultural pioneers, energy experts, policymakers, lawmakers, and entrepreneurs, investors. Yeah.
Yeah, and with all of these people that are quite literally building this next evolution of the monetary system, leading up to these events, there's always a lot of whispers in the rumor mill about what might, big announcements that might be made, or product launches that might be happening. Is there anything you might know of, you might be able to tease us, that could be announced at BTC Asia? I know, for instance, like Indonesia has come out recently, and they're kind of toying with the idea of a Bitcoin reserve. Is there anything in the rumor mill that you're able to tell us yet, or is that all under wraps and you'll have to kind of get your own ticket to find out?
What I can say is that every year we make our conference a place for organizations and companies to make big moves. So if you're expecting some big moves coming out at Bitcoin Asia, then come check it out. And we fully provide that space for companies and for the correct exposure. And looking forward to hear these announcements myself from the stage.
Mm-hmm. And you've spoken before about, let's call it, the human side of Bitcoin. How are you making space for those stories at this event? Like interesting tales, like we have the guy who we talked about earlier on the show who lost his wallet in the dumpster. Or you hear these stories time and again that are just more on the human element. Are there any people that are invited like that? Or do you make room for people to speak about stories like that as well?
Right. So yeah, for sure. So from the event perspective, of course, from a human-driven perspective that I come from, definitely the goal is to, from the production side, is really to make sure everybody have a great time. And this is more nuanced than we usually think, and this can come from, where can I find water in the venue, to where can I find a coffee, or where can I have some place to sit. So it's a really nuanced effort to having the goal of have everybody have a great time. So production wise, we're doing everything we can to ensure that is the case. And then from the attendee perspective, we have a lot of conversations at Bitcoin Asia to talk about how we can how Bitcoin can benefit people on an individual level, and that kind of conversation and narrative are fit into different contexts. And we have dedicated conversation for artists. So for example, so how do you leverage Bitcoin for yourself if you're an artist? And how do you utilize Bitcoin as an artist so that you maybe worry less about money, or you set it up differently, or how do you so there's a discussion that happened there. And then we also have dedicated fireside chat. Actually, I myself will be on to talk specifically about how Bitcoin changes you. So we have this programming agenda that's in the pipeline that are really focusing on how we can approach Bitcoin from a more cultural and human point of view. So that would be also a central focus at Bitcoin Asia.
That's amazing, because as we know, like, Bitcoin is a lot more than just a monetary or financial instrument. It also can affect a lot of our culture as well. And you yourself are a singer-songwriter. Is there any Bitcoin Asia stage or space where Ivy Lumi might be making an appearance this year?
Actually, that's unconfirmed. There actually might be, but it's not confirmed. So we'll see if it actually happens. I would love to make an appearance of as Ivy Lumi, because I've actually never done that before. So let's see if it actually lines up and we can have a Bitcoin song on stage.
I'm hoping we better get some video footage if Ivy Lumi makes an appearance, so please keep us posted on that. Another thing that I think is interesting is the Bitcoin scene has kind of ramped up in Asia in recent years. Are there any trends that you're seeing out in the East that the West might not be catching on to yet, or have a full grasp of yet, that are different than what we're seeing here in the Western side of things?
Right. I would go back to the point where the East Bitcoin community, they're taking a more explorative approach in Bitcoin. I'm not saying this is something that we should take note of, but I'm saying that this is something that would be interesting to compare notes, because I believe, and this is where we're hoping to have Bitcoin Asia as a platform for people to do that, to compare notes and check on each other's ethos and see where we can learn from each other. Because there's a reason why they took a more explorative approach and focus more on DeFi and layer 2. And there must be a background, either that's historical or cultural, or just based on the situation of the context of the market. It has been an educated decision why they went through that route. And then similar thing for the Westerners Bitcoin community, why we focus on base layer, why we are very focused on the wallet, self-custody, like all these things we're emphasizing. I think both communities have really great points where they are emphasizing, but they're also missing out on the other side. So it would be really great to have Bitcoin Asia as a place to, I guess, invite Bitcoiners from East and West to be more balanced, to take a more balanced approach when it comes to Bitcoin, and that would ultimately benefit everybody in the community.
I love that. And as someone who's had an integral hand in producing this event, what's been the most rewarding part of building the Bitcoin Asia experience for you so far? Is it just getting to hopefully orange pill this whole new crowd of people into this new financial system that ultimately benefits all of us, or is there just a satisfaction in putting on a kick-ass event?
I would say, well, there's so many things I can touch on. Like personally, event production, it's a industry of its own, because leading to the event every day, you're getting busier. It's not usually the case when you're in any industry, and it's an industry where you have to have a lot of passion, because otherwise you can't be performing well with 2 hours of sleep for a week, right? So you have to basically run on your adrenaline, and it requires a lot of passion to do a good job. So I would say the most rewarding moment of my job have not yet come yet. on site when I've actually delivered the a great production and work with everyone on the team that deliver a great conference for every attendee and the stakeholders, then that would be a moment of breather, a moment of success that, oh, okay, this is now I can say that I've done this. I would say the rewarding part also comes big time from bringing people together in the Bitcoin community. My own journey as a Bitcoiner drastically changed after I started going to Bitcoin conference, and that was 2022 in Miami. And I was actually organized by the same team. So now it's a cosmic timing that I'm part of the team and putting together Bitcoin Asia. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to give back to the community and through my work to help bring Bitcoiners from East and West together. And in the end, the conversations that happens there, the joy and laughter, the discovery, I know that I wouldn't be able to personally be in all of these conversations, but just knowing that I've helped provide that space is going to be a very joyful and rewarding feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very worthwhile endeavor. But as someone who's producing it, not just as someone who's producing it, but as an attendee yourself, what's the one thing or speaker or event or company you're looking forward to seeing or learning more about at the event itself this year? What's really getting you excited?
Right. I would say I'm looking forward to actually getting to know more on Metaplanet. Metaplanet, they have been very proactive in the Bitcoin community, not so long ago, but they've gained so much attraction and made so much progress. So I'm actually interested in knowing more about them, meeting the team on site and listening to Simon's speech and see what else in their pipeline, because they have lots going on.
Yeah, no, Metaplanet is absolutely changing the game on the other side of our planet here, so we're super excited to hear what they have to say at the conference. We've had you for a minute, so I want to finish with one last question before we let you go. When someone leaves Bitcoin Asia this year, what's the one thing you hope that they walk away with in terms of believing about Bitcoin? What is it you want everybody who attends to really understand about our beloved orange coin?
Right. Well, a couple of things. When everyone walks away from Bitcoin Asia this year, I hope they walk away with a ticket for Bitcoin Asia next year. So this is the wish number one, because and then wish number one, and then wish number two is that because our theme would be signal over noise, so all of our content and our effort are geared towards that. So would really love to see if people start to think, oh, consider Bitcoin as more signal, and would pay more attention of the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, and as well as taking Bitcoin seriously personally, not just for money, but also to think what else can I do with Bitcoin for myself, for my health, for my relationship, for becoming a better person, to really utilizing Bitcoin as a tool for self-actualization and personal improvement. That would be my hope.
Oh, I love that. And, I got to say, we love having you on the show. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we let you go, though, one more time for our audience that's watching that's like, hey, I think I'm really interested in checking out Bitcoin Asia now. Again, let them know what's the best place they can go to get more information and maybe even get their own ticket.
Yeah, for sure. If you just search Bitcoin Asia, our official website would be the best place to be for all of the informations regarding the event. The event Bitcoin Asia will happen in Hong Kong, August 28th and 29th at Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center. It is right downtown, close to all of the cultural attractions, and definitely one-of-a-kind experience when it comes to Bitcoin conference. We have the free GA pass available until the end of August 8th. So do grab your free pass if you want to come check it out. Since from August 9th, the GA pass will resume to the regular pricing of $59, and then along with all of the Pro Pass and Well Pass, they will go up all the way till the show day. And if you are someone who wants to come to Bitcoin Asia and Hong Kong with any business agenda, finding partners, finding your next investor, then definitely consider the Pro and Whale Pass that are paid type. Right now, if you use BTCviv at checkout, you can unlock a 10% discount.
Nice, very nice. Well, we appreciate all the info and the discount code, Viv. That's amazing. So BTCviv, make sure you're getting that 10% off, gang. And Viv, always a pleasure having you on the Blockchain Report. We certainly appreciate you and your time today and joining us. Any final words before you go, or I guess we'll have to wait to see you at BTC Asia, huh?
I would say stay humble and stack sats. Let's all live in the present and enjoy this life with Bitcoin.
Love to hear it. Viv, thank you again so much for joining us. We hope to have you back real soon, and best of luck in BTC Asia. We're all going to be watching, and we're excited to see how the event turns out. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, and see you in Hong Kong.
Sounds good. All right, gang, you heard it here first. August 28th and 29th in Hong Kong, Bitcoin Asia. Make sure to get your tickets. You have until the 8th to get your free GA tickets. So if you're in the area, you got no excuse not to go. And there are also other paid passes you can get to get even a better experience at this incredible event. If it's anything like the Bitcoin conference in Vegas was, I'm sure it is going to be incredible. Amazing speakers, Eric Trump and our own, that's right, our own Borja Martel Seward will be a speaker there as well. So make sure you check him out. You won't want to miss it. We're going to go to break, but when we're back, we're going to wrap things up for today's show with a little bullish, bearish, or BS. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Blockchain Report after this.
Security matters. Zappo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
Thank you for having
So, tell us about your furry friend here. What's his name?
Oh, this? This is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It's not just a cat, he's family.
Quite a name, and I must say, looks quite pampered.
Oh, absolutely. Bitcoin deserves nothing but the best. He's my little prince.
But with such a valuable pet, aren't you afraid of losing him?
Losing Bitcoin? No, it never happened before, so it's not something I worry about. Excuse me for a moment. Bitcoin, stay here, right?
Bitcoin, no! Bitcoin, come on, little buddy, Bitcoin, I need you. Don't go.
All right, welcome back. It's time for a little bullish, bearish, or BS. But once again, a big thanks to our lovely guest today, BTCviv. Make sure to get your tickets to Bitcoin Asia, August 28th and 29th. Set just Bitcoin Asia on the Googles. Free general admission tickets up until August 8th. And they do have discounted tickets for the additional paid passes, I think for the next 17 hours. So make sure to get them while the going is good. And BTCviv for your 10% off your ticket. So make sure to do that. All right, let's wrap up today's show. Let's go over our top stories and see if they're looking good, bad, or just a bunch of BS for our beloved Bitcoin. First up, President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order allowing cryptocurrency, real estate, and other alternative assets into the $12.5 trillion 401k market, directing the Labor Department to revise the ERISA rules, with pro-crypto SEC Chair Paul Atkins leading the charge. This move could integrate Bitcoin into retirement portfolios, marking a significant expansion of private market access. I mean, this is very bullish, gang. This could spike Bitcoin's price now by attracting institutional and retail investment from retirement funds, with long-term growth potential as adoption scales, though risks like regulatory hiccups or market volatility certainly linger. I mean, a huge influx of 401k money could push Bitcoin up short term with steady growth if it actually holds. I'm bullish on that one. Could be wild if things actually play out. Yeah, just like that. We'll see how it goes, though. Next up, Tom Lee predicts Michael Saylor's strategy could top global companies if Bitcoin hits $1 million, citing its $70 billion Bitcoin treasury and a valuation model akin to ExxonMobil's oil reserves. Critics like Jim Chanos argue the stock's premium is unjustified, sparking a short-selling arbitrage play. I mean, I'm bullish on this too, gang. Saylor's Bitcoin hoard boosts confidence and could drive price surges now and in the future if that $1 million mark nears, though skepticism might cap the gains if the market calls its bluff. You know, Saylor's bet could rally Bitcoin now with big upside if the prediction holds true. So I got to be bullish on that too. 2 bullish, 0 bearish, 0 BS. We're looking good. Let's see if we can go for the clean sweep here. Last up, fewer than 1 million wallets hold a full Bitcoin, according to recent reports, with 983,000 total addresses dominated by entities like Strategy, that holds over 628,000 Bitcoin, and Binance, who holds a lot too. This is leaving individual ownership closer to around 800,000 amid a circulating supply of only 20 million. This scarcity trend, with Bitcoin price between 114 and 119K, is turning full ownership into a status symbol. So forget your Lambos, your private jets, your helicopters. Just get yourself a Bitcoin. Scarcity could drive prices up now as demand outpaces supply, likely as halving effects deepen through exchange dominance, though exchange dominance might dampen individual impact. But you got to be bullish on this, right? I mean, scarcity would lift Bitcoin prices now with more upside as the supply continues to tighten later. So I'm bullish. So today's verdict, I mean, we got 3 bullish stories. It is a beautiful day for our lovely orange coin. Prepare yourself, strap in, because we might be seeing some upward trajectory in the very near future. It is exciting times, so prepare yourself for liftoff. As always, a big thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Blockchain Report. We are here every single weekday morning at 8 a.m. PST, so make sure you're tuning in for all the signal your heart could ever want. And as always, do not forget, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to RoxomTV and yours truly at Hank@RoxomTV on all platforms. And I will see you degenerates tomorrow as we wrap up the week with more Bitcoin Bedlam. As always, hodl strong, and I will see you all mañana. Thanks for tuning in.